follow production. So definitely Netanyahu not going to follow this bombing Beirut. So I think that President Trump is definitely going to step away, especially with an announcement that the ceasefire is going to see the ceasefire actually happens, and that will stay on paper again. But here's the thing that striking to me this call as one of the worst calls between Netanyahu and Trump since Trump came back to office. One year ago, maybe there was one call that was worse than the call today. And in that call, Trump had been part of the call, yes, and now they wanted to go on strike. The president's become very concerned of the civilian casualties and as part of the Israel strikes in Lebanon. He thought that the fact that Netanyahu was ready to knock down buildings in Beirut, all buildings that gave California to Charles Matter were disproportionate. And during the call, he even mentioned to Netanyahu, he asked them to stand down and to not perform the respect of Beirut. If it weren't for me, you would have been in prison by now. Referring to Netanyahu's corruption trial and Trump's campaign to rip them apart. And so I think that a big part of this call, the tones were very, very high. That even, as you said, Trump told Netanyahu during the call, you were effing crazy. What do you want to do in Lebanon? And I think that overall, Trump realized that the war in Lebanon, Netanyahu has been escalated over the last few days, would undermine what he's trying to do in Iran, would undermine the deal that he's trying to get, and he decided to cut it down.
But Jeff, on that front, is it clear right now what the president is trying to do in Iran? Because he's going from, he says the talks are moving rapidly. This morning's state media from Iran is that it's been paused. He told NBC earlier today that the United States and Iran have been talking too much. If you want to know the truth, he said, quote, I think going silent would be very good. I mean, an hour later, he said they're moving really quickly. What's your sense of what's happening?
I think it's very hard to get a sense of what's happening. Unfortunately, is the answer to your question. I think there's a lot that is up in the air and a lot that is simply not here. And that's in large part because he's been giving these messages to the president, honestly, since the start of this war. And that is consistent with the messages that he was delivering today. Certainly, the phone call that he had with Netanyahu was in line with a couple of things that I think we know. Number one, that Israel is the junior partner in this. Number two, that President Trump broadly is very frustrated. He's certainly frustrated that there hasn't been a resolution of some kind. He has indicated that that's what he wants. And he's probably frustrated by a bunch of other domestic setbacks that have happened to him in the last week or so.
Yeah, I mean, Brock, in that sense, this country's Iran is threatening to bomb a strait that is a very critical gateway to the Suez Canal. As we've already seen what's happening with the Strait of Hormuz, what's your sense of what's at stake here as these talks are either paused or playing out or both in the same way?
So I think what the Iranians did today is that they made clear what they've been saying for quite some time, is that they want to use this being the U.S. going to war as a way to try and get proxies in the region and try and prevent the proxies from being totally decimated by the Israelis. And that Hezbollah is number one of those proxies. And for the Iranians, it was very important to make sure that there is a ceasefire in Lebanon. At the same time, what the Iranians have been doing for the last 2 or 3 weeks, they've been pressing Hezbollah to escalate more and more its throwing the missile attacks on Israel, because they knew that this would put a lot of domestic territory on Netanyahu. So it's this dual approach. On the one hand, putting Hezbollah to prevent more attacks. On the other hand, they're trying to prevent Israel from going all the way and trying to decimate Hezbollah. And I think that overall, some of this aid, particularly the Iranians did today, was on the one hand protect the property maybe the past